Hello, Pam, you there?
I am here. Here.
Okay. This is Dan Kimball.
Hi, Dan.
Where you got some? Can you see me?
I can see you.
Okay.
Tracy, hi, Dan.
Hi.
Hey, everybody. We're expecting about 25 people, but I will get started right at 2 because we have a lot to cover.
Can I just tell you real quick what I'm doing and get your opinion?
Sure.
This summer, I'll do what I'm doing now. I have podcasts and PowerPoints my students use. They just have a deadline when they got to turn in a lecture quiz I provide for them on Canvas. And then I have labs that I take videos of and give them the data, show them what we do, and they fill in the report, hand that in. I test. I email them all a test, and they got 1 hour and a half to send me the answer sheet.
Okay.
So Kendra says, give that to you and see if that's okay.
I think it's probably fine. The only thing I would be concerned about is making sure that your students have appropriate access to internet and that sort of thing. The hour and a half deadline would be the one thing I'm worried about.
That's just for the tests. Yeah, I've been doing that. I did that for all my students and they did okay. Yesterday I did a Zoom office hour to see how they'd react to Zoom. And only 3 students out of 86 chimed in and they asked a quick question and we're gone.
Yeah.
So they seem to be doing okay otherwise. So.
Okay. Yeah, that seems okay.
We're concerned about, okay. Ken would want me to ask you about that, but
Okay.
we're concerned about whether or not Cal State and UC will accept our classes doing things like this.
I know that those conversations are in the works. I can't really speak to that. I know that that's going to come from them. And what I've heard is, there's not an answer back yet.
Yeah, well, we haven't got a choice anyway, so.
Right. Vandalyn, I see your note that there's an echo. Once everybody's on mute, that should go away.
Yes, I understand. I would like to find out how to get on the ConferZoom. I can get on the regular Zoom, but that's my main interest.
That's going to be one of the first things we do.
Okay. Excellent.
All right, guys, we have just a couple minutes. I'm expecting about 25 people. Once it hits 2 o'clock, though, we will get started.
Okay. I'll put mine on mute then for right now.
Okay. And at some point, I'll mute everyone.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. We'll start in just 1 minute.
Can anyone hear me?
All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and get started. If you didn't know already, you're in ConferZoom Basics, and I am Pam Rivers, the person with the shark about to eat my head right there, if you can see my window right there. Welcome, everyone. I'm glad that you made it in. I'm expecting a few more people to come in, but I wanted to take some time to just introduce myself and go over what this training is going to be. I also want to welcome Tracy Lovelace, who is in the, she's going to be in the chat to help with questions, because as I'm teaching, it can be a little overwhelming to look at the chat and see what questions you have too. But we will definitely be answering questions. We're just going to do those strategically so we can get the most out of this hour we've got together. So what I'd like to ask is if everybody can find the chat box to go ahead and take a second and introduce yourself before we get started. So just type in the chat your name, what department you're in, and what you're hoping to learn today. So I'm going to give everybody about a minute to do that. So you should see the chat either at the top or the bottom where the controls are. It says chat, and go ahead and type those in, and I'm going to be watching. And then I'll introduce myself and have Tracy introduce herself. I've noticed a few comments that we hear some background noise. So I'm going to mute everyone. And if you would, please don't unmute yourself right now. Later, there'll be time to do that. So everybody should be muted now except for me. Okay, I see Dominica just posted her introduction. There's Dan. Give everybody about a minute to do that. I'm just taking a look to see who I'm talking to today. Okay. So while you're doing that, I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself. You've probably seen a lot of emails coming from me recently. My name is Pamela Rivers. I'm in the Academic Technology and Professional Development Department. I'm the only person in professional development, but I'm also part of academic technology. I sort of coordinate all the trainings we're due and host some of them. And I've been with BC a couple years now. And then Tracy, if you want to unmute yourself and introduce yourself as well.
Hi, guys. Tracy Lovelace here. I'm Pam's wing gal, and I work in academic technology too. I'm the one of 2, 3, 4 Canvas administrators. And however I can be of assistance to you, let me know.
Okay. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead. So I'm just scrolling through real quick. I'm sure not everybody has done their introduction yet, but it would help me if you would do that, even if it's not just yet. And now I'm going to go ahead and go through just our agenda. We're going to do a quick poll, talk about some of the very basics. I have a pretty aggressive agenda for today about what I want to cover, so it's entirely possible I won't get through all of this. If I don't, and there's still information you need I haven't covered, you can always email me, or if necessary, I'll go ahead and set up a second training. But here's what I hope to cover today, and hopefully everyone should be able to see my screen. If for some reason you can't, type that in the chat and Tracy will help with that or let me know. So we already did introductions. So I'm going to do a very basic, after we get done with this, just getting us started. How do you turn off your microphone, turn on your microphone, turn on your video? We've all hopefully discovered chat, because that's where we're doing our introductions. Then we're going to go on to setting up your account. And I've already seen a few people mention that they've got a Zoom account, but they need a ConferZoom account. And that's a very clear distinction that we need to make. So we're going to go over that as well. We're going to do basic meeting settings, how to create a meeting in ConferZoom. If we need to, we're going to do how to create a meeting in Canvas, and I'm going to poll you guys to see if that's something that we need or not. And then we're going to go over the basic meeting hosting tools, how you manage participants, how you manage chat, if you want to learn how to do breakout rooms, if you want to do polls. So those are the things that I'm hoping to get through today. We only have an hour, so that's a lot to get through. How today's session will run. I already muted everyone except for Tracy and myself. I'm asking you to keep yourself muted if you would. But if I'm going over something and you have a question, please go ahead and type it in the chat. Tracy will either answer it or she will tell me when we stop for questions that it's a question that I need to go over. I will periodically just stop and pause and see if there are any questions that we need to talk about. And at the end, I'm going to try to leave questions as well. I will give you my contact info, and I'm going to show you where some other resources are. I'm not expecting you to remember exactly how to do everything we cover in this session, but I'll show you where you can find that help, or you can always, of course, email me as well. This is also a badged session, so what that means for you is there'll be a little activity for you to do at the end, and if you do it, you get a badge for attending the session that shows that you know how to do ConferZoom. All right, so we already did introductions, and now I'm going to stop sharing for just a moment and ask you to do a little poll that's going to show up on the screen. Hopefully. Okay, so my poll disappeared. Hang on, we're going to skip that right now because my poll is gone. All right, so I'm going to skip that and go back to sharing my screen.
Polls.
Polls.
Can't live with them and can't live without them.
We'll get to that information. Okay, so I want to go over just the basics in case you haven't had the chance to explore Zoom yet. At the bottom or at the top of your screen, depending on how you're set up, you should see a black bar that looks like what you see on my PowerPoint right here. To the left, and I'm moving my cursor over this, so hopefully you can all see. It's at the very bottom though. This is where your sound is. If you want to mute yourself or unmute yourself, you're going to click on that microphone that's at the very left on that bar. The next thing that you're going to see is the thing that looks like a video camera, and that's how you turn your video on and off. So hopefully everybody can see that. And again, if at any time you have questions about what we're going over, you can put that in the chat. One of the things that you may notice, like a few of you, like my name on my picture, it says Pamela Rivers, but I notice I see iPhone 2 and I see some things like that, and that may not be how you want to come across as you're in a meeting. So if you go over to where your picture is, and if you can see all the little pictures along the side, you should scroll over and see 3 dots. When you click on those 3 dots, you'll see the option to rename. So if you don't like the name that's on your picture right now, or if we can't tell who you are, that's where you would change it. So play around with that for a second. I want to see some interesting names pop up on the screen. Try renaming yourself, and I'm going to rename myself as you guys do that. Okay, so I just changed mine. Hopefully you see that. Oh, I've seen several people change theirs.
Pam, what if you don't have the 3 dots?
If you scroll over your picture, you don't see 3 dots, like up in the right-hand corner.
Do you guys see? Okay.
I haven't had that happen yet. All right, I have a few people still working on renaming themselves. The other thing that I want to go over here is chat, as most of you have already found it. Again, you can see at the bottom of my PowerPoint here, the chat. If I click on that, then my chat pops open. And another thing that you have the ability to do is, let's say I didn't have Tracy here to let me know that there were people that had questions. I can raise my hand, or in other ways indicate to the presenter that I don't understand something that they're saying. So at the bottom, you'll see mine says manage participants, but yours should just say participants. And if you click on that, you should see some options like raising your hand. I'm not going to show you that screen yet, but take a look and see if you can see it before we move on. All right, Tracy, did we get any questions there that we need to deal with?
Nope.
Nope. All right, moving on. All right, so this is just another window that shows you, here's what the chat looks like. This is if no one has posted any chats yet. And over here, my participant list, if I'm the one doing the presenting, I can see that Pam Rivers has a raised hand right now and has a question for me. And again, you all should see that as well when you click on participants. Okay, so here's a question that's already come up a couple of times from people who came in, is the difference between ConferZoom and Zoom. And that's an important difference. I'm curious, let's try having people put this in the chat. Is there anybody in here who set up their account on Zoom and not ConferZoom? If you think that's you, just say something like yes or raise your hand in the chat right now.
Dr. Carol Matthews says yes.
Okay. We're going to go over that in just a second. If you feel like you're good and you set yourself up on ConferZoom, give me a thumbs up so I know how much detail I need to go in. And you can literally on your picture give me a thumbs up, or you can put it in the chat.
Dan says yes, he has. Courtney says I have a Zoom, but not a ConferZoom.
Okay, so we're going to go over how to fix that.
And,
so
and we need to really figure that out for Mandolin too.
Okay, all right. Now, the news I'm going to give you isn't great today, and that is I'm going to show you where to go to set up your account. I'm going to give you a couple minutes to set up your account, but it's not instant. You don't immediately get your account set up. You have to wait for a verification email from ConferZoom, which can sometimes take a little while. Don't worry if you set yourself up on Zoom. We're going to set you up on ConferZoom, and they'll merge your accounts for you when we do it. So like I said, your account's not set up till we get that verification email. Once you get the verification email, if you're an instructor, you can then set up in Canvas, but not before then. If you are signing in at ConferZoom, but you notice that you're being taken to zoom.us, ConferZoom is being nice and taking you to your account, but you do not have a ConferZoom account. So let's show everybody what we mean by that. I'm going to stop sharing my PowerPoint, and we're going to go to ConferZoom. If you don't have your account yet, please go with me and do these same steps that I'm doing so that by the end of this, you at least have the request for your account in. So I'm going to open the browser. I'll share it with you as soon as it's open. And I'm going to go to conferzoom.org. So let me share that with you so you guys can all see where I am. So when I go to sign up, I should see a screen that looks like this. Some of you may be going over here to sign in, but like I said, if you sign in and it takes you to zoom.us, you don't have the right account. So if that's you, or if you think there's any chance that that's you, click sign up instead. And that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to click sign up. And then I'll see a screen that looks like this, and I will fill it out. Now, I need to make sure of a couple of things as I do this. Where it says email, this has to be your BC email address. So make sure that that is your BC email address. Make sure for organization you put Bakersfield College. Your classification, administrator, staff, faculty, whichever one of those is right. Put a title and a phone number in case they need to reach you for any reason. So if you're someone whose account is not set up, we're going to pause right here just about a minute to give you the chance to do this. It'll take you a minute to do it, and you'll see a screen that says it takes up to 72 hours to get your account. That's okay, but we might as well start the process now. So I'm just going to pause for a minute. If you've got questions, put them in the chat. I'm going to stop share during this part and give everybody a chance to do that, and then we'll go from there.
And again, if you didn't have a problem seeing Pam's slide or whatever, I put the URL or the name of ConferZoom where you should be in the chat window.
And I see a message here that says I sent the email requesting, but nothing yet. And unfortunately, guys, it's a small group of people over there who's processing this. And I will tell you that some things get lost. We had a weekend where we probably signed up 150 people and half of them didn't get their accounts right away. And so I know it seems weird to say this, but what we've suggested is just do it again. If you wait 2 days and you don't hear from them, just do it again. Hopefully you'll then get the account. And sometimes people get it immediately And sometimes I was talking to somebody yesterday who'd been waiting a week, and I said, don't wait a week, just do it again. All right, so we're going to move on in about 30 seconds.
And Pam, will you go over in this training, or do you need a different training to go over basic versus advanced?
What do you mean basic versus advanced?
The account, a basic account versus a pro account.
You will only see that your account says basic if you have a Zoom.us. Every once in a while, you won't get the full features when you first sign up at ConferZoom, but normally within a day, your account becomes a pro account. So I'm just going to warn you, if you get your account confirmed and you go in and you don't see all the features I'm showing you here, it's just because your account they haven't set it up as a pro account, but they will. And it normally doesn't take any time at all for them to do that. If for some reason that never happens, email either Matt or Tracy or I, and we'll make sure that they get you set up correctly. All right, I'm going to assume that everybody is with me and we're moving on. And like I said, don't worry if you don't get your email right away. But if it's been several days, then I would just go in and sign up again. And if it happens a couple of times, there is a way that we can help push it along, but it takes even that isn't fast. So just know that. And again, it's a small group of people. I think they're doing the best they can right now.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Sure, go ahead.
So I forgot if I created a Zoom or a ConferZoom account. So I just went into ConferZoom and I signed in. When I clicked sign in, they sent me to Zoom, and I did have an account at Zoom.
Okay.
But that I guess that doesn't tell me whether I actually have a ConferZoom account or not.
If the address bar says, everything will say Zoom on the left-hand side, but if the address bar says zoom.us, you don't have a ConferZoom account. They're taking you to a Zoom account.
Okay.
So if that happens, go to the sign up and sign up again.
Okay.
Okay.
Mandolin, you need to sign up for an account, a new account. You shouldn't be at US.
Yeah. Again, there's a blue bar that says Zoom on everybody's. But if in the address bar it says zoom.us, that's how you know you're in the wrong spot. Okay. All right. So then just some things about setup. When you are ready to either attend a meeting or host a meeting, there's a few things that I just want to make your life a little bit easier. Be sure you have a stable internet connection. Right now, that's a little hard to do because everyone's on the internet and it can mess up your internet connection, even if you're paying for the most expensive kind. But I'm just going to tell you, if you have the lowest internet connection that your internet provider provides, you're probably going to have a hard time with Zoom. My daughter's teacher did Zoom with her fourth grade class last week, and he was the only person that had a bad internet connection. He was lagging. The kids couldn't hear him. You just want to try to be careful about that and upgrade if you can, or just make sure you're not using other devices during a Zoom session to make sure that you have the best experience you can. You need speakers, a microphone, and a webcam if you're going to show video. Speakers and microphone at a bare minimum. You can share your screen and not show video, but it's probably good to have a webcam, especially if you're going to be the person hosting. Think about what noise is around you. For instance, as I'm doing this session, I made my daughter turn the TV off and go into the other room just because other people can hear that. A headset helps direct the noise a little bit better, but it's something that you want to consider. I had this conversation already with someone today and probably about 5 times during the last week. If you have remote access through the IT department and you're using that remote access, if you're going to use Zoom, you have to minimize the remote access window. If you don't, it's trying to access your desktop at BC, and that doesn't have a microphone or speakers, and so that's not going to work for you. So just make sure if you're one of the people in that situation that you're not using your remote access. Okay, now we're going to go into settings. So I'm going to stop sharing this screen and I'm going to show you, this is once you have your ConferZoom account and you're ready to set up as if you're going to host a meeting, I want to show you settings that you should consider that you might want to make changes to before you host that first meeting. All right, so let me share this screen with you. and we'll go over some of the important ones. Now there's a lot here, and not all of it is something that you necessarily need to make changes to, but I'm going to go over the ones that I feel like are important to you. Host video on. So if you want to start every meeting and your video automatically comes on, you want this to be blue. So just to show you, blue is on, gray is off. So you want anything that you want on to be blue like that. Participants video. Do you want to see the video of all the people in your session, or do you want them to come in with all of their video off? And again, just so you know, this isn't changing all of these things for the meeting I'm hosting now. These settings take place for the next meeting you host, not if you're in one at the time. Audio type. Can people use both telephone and computer audio? I would never change this. People have different needs, so I would always make sure that you allow both of these things, just so you know. Join before host is one that you should consider, and this is just about what you prefer and what you want. I always allow join before host, and what that means is if I don't come into the meeting but Tracy wants to come into my meeting 20 minutes early, she can. If you don't allow join before host, and let's say you're one of those people that arrives right at the last minute, all of your participants are just sitting waiting until you come in, and you get a message that says you'll be allowed into the meeting when the host arrives. So it's up to you. I always allow join before host just in case for some reason I'm late, whatever. Use personal meeting ID when scheduling a meeting. So when you set up a ConferZoom account, you get an ID that's always yours, a link that you can always use. I use this meeting ID all the time for just impromptu meetings when I just want to chat with, my team. I use that personal meeting ID. But when I schedule a meeting like this, I set up a separate account. You may have seen in the news this Zoom bombing thing that's happening where random people try out different ID numbers and just pop into people's meetings and cause trouble, show, pornographic videos, what have you. Zoom has said that a way to keep that from happening is using a different ID every time. And that's honestly the reason why for my big meetings, I use a different ID instead of my own personal ID. So just something to think about. This is the same thing when starting an instant meeting. When I'm starting an instant meeting, like I just click host a meeting, I use my personal meeting ID. This is a setting that you can't change, so we're going to skip past it. There's a few like that where the California Community College system has set up, and we can't make those changes. Require a password when scheduling new meetings. I wouldn't use any of the password things, especially if you're doing something for students. I'm going to skip down here a little bit. Mute participants on entry. If I was a faculty member teaching courses, I would absolutely use this. Just my personal opinion. If you have 60 people coming to a session, I probably wouldn't want to hear all that noise of talking when they join. You can allow them to unmute themselves, but I would certainly start with it quiet. For a meeting with just my team, I wouldn't use this. So it's up to you and how you're going to be using Zoom. All right, skipping down a little bit, and you'll notice along the side, if I wanted to skip to different sections of the settings, I could do that. We're just going to scroll through, but I could go to the in meeting or the in meeting advanced. Okay, so chat. Do you want your participants to be able to chat when they come into your meetings? I like that for questions, but you might have a reason where you don't want them to be able to chat. Here's another one, and different faculty members have different opinions on this. Should participants be able to send private messages? They could be sending messages that have nothing to do with your class, but it's whether that bothers you or not. If it does, just turn it off and you don't have to have that. Okay, auto saving.
Oh,
yes.
Sorry. We have a question just about the telephone or computer options. Okay. That is for everyone once you set that, correct?
Yes. If you say they can only use the computer, no one's going to be able to call in, and it won't offer them a call-in option. Yep. Okay. So play sound when participants join or leave. I like this one a lot, especially if I'm, when I do my office hours, I can be doing other things. And if I'm expecting somebody to just pop in, I want that noise so that I don't have to be looking at my screen the whole time to see if somebody's popping in. So if I was going to, especially if I'm holding office hours, I want to have that on. And then who it's heard by. In general, I think it's probably best that it's heard by the host only, but you might want everybody to hear it. It's totally up to you. You guys might have noticed when I did that, I got a button right here. It doesn't wait till the end. It says, do you want to save this change now? I'm going to go ahead and save it. All right, I'm going to skip through a few of these, just going to the important ones. If you are someone who has an SI leader, or if you have, you're hosting a meeting and other people might need to host that meeting and you're not going to be there, you can allow a co-host. So you would want this button to be on. Another thing, my poll didn't work when I tried to do it earlier, but you can say, I don't want there to be an option for anyone to do polls at all. I like that, and I wish I would have been able to show that to you. So I always have the polling on. If you're a faculty member especially, this next setting is important to you. Allow the host to put an attendee on hold. If you get someone who comes in and is causing trouble, this gives you the ability to remove somebody from a meeting. So you can have this on, I can click that person's name and kick them out of my meeting, and then I could lock the meeting, and I'll show you how to do that later so that they can't get back in again. Just in case somebody was causing trouble. The toolbar that I was showing you a picture of earlier that has your microphone, your video, your chat, all of that, do you want that to always be visible, or do you want it to disappear? I don't like it when it disappears, when I have to move my cursor around to find it. So that's a change that you can make right there as well. Here's a big one, especially to keep people from causing trouble in your classroom. As soon as we started doing ConferZoom, we did a bunch of trainings with our faculty, and I had a faculty member come back and tell me that as soon as he did his first Zoom and shared his whiteboard, he had one of his students drawing all over the whiteboard and drawing penises all over the whiteboard. So that can be changed right here in this section. So who is allowed to share? Is it host only? That means it's just the teacher, or is it everyone? So you decide for yourself. If you trust your students, you can say all participants, or, you know, if you don't. Another thing here is who can, like, if I have my students presenting, but I want to share again and I want to stop their share, I can do that. But if I click this one, any of my students could do it. So one student could be sharing a PowerPoint and another student could stop them sharing and put up a picture of a penis if they wanted to. So up to you. I don't think there's a good reason to let all participants stop somebody else from sharing, but you might have a reason where you need that. All right, scrolling down a little bit, annotation. Here's another place where you can stop the drawing of random body parts. If you turn this off, no one can annotate. So I'm going to show you that later, but if I turn that off, nobody is allowed to annotate. If it's on, anybody can annotate. And that means drawing on stuff. Whiteboard, allow participants to share a whiteboard during a meeting. I'm going to show you that later, hopefully, if there's time. But this is where you can turn that on or off. I'm going to skip through a few of these right here. Breakout room. If you see a need where you might want to split your participants into different small group sessions, this is where you can allow that. Allow the host to put people in breakout rooms. All right. Skipping down a little bit. Okay, you guys see my virtual background where I've got the shark behind me? This button allows it. So can people use those virtual backgrounds in your meetings? Yes or no? You can change that right there. And I'm going to skip through a lot of this because it's probably not something that we need.
So Pam, question,
Yep.
If someone doesn't have the ability to change these options in their settings, that just means that the California Community College
Has locked them.
Has locked them.
And I will tell you that last time I did this training, there was only one setting that we couldn't change. And then recently there's two more that we can't change. And those have to do with closed captioning. So I guess they've decided there's something that's better for us. So there's 3 things total that we can't change, but yeah, they're locked by the community college system because they're who pays for our accounts. All right, so last thing here, email notifications. If you start using ConferZoom regularly, this will be important to you because when we first started using Zoom for all the virtual trainings that we've been doing, I had about 1,000 emails from Zoom in one weekend. And then I came in and turned everything off. So just know that you might start getting a lot if you start teaching in Zoom or hosting a lot of meetings in Zoom. So if it were me, I would turn these off right now if I was you. Email notification when a cloud recording is available. That may not seem like a big deal, But if you enable join before host on your meetings, a student can come in anytime they want to into your session, and they will. This is what we discovered. As soon as we sent out a link, even if the meeting was a week away, a bunch of people would just come in to make sure they could get in. And then I would get a recording every time they came in. So something to be aware of, because it flooded my inbox with emails. Do you want an email every time someone joins before the host? So again, that person who signs into your class a week early, you get an email saying that you should go join the student who's waiting for you in your Zoom room. So you might want to turn that off as well. These others, do you want to notice when a meeting is canceled, when there's another host, when someone's scheduled a meeting for a host? I have these on. I've never gotten an email for any of these. So up to you. They don't generate much in the way of emails. And I think that's all I want to go over on this. But now I'm going to scroll up to the top and show you another place, especially if you're a faculty member. This one that says recording. If you are having lectures in Zoom, you probably want to record these and post these later. So I just want to show you, you need to go to this tab to do that. You click on recording. Unless you have a lot of space on your computer, you probably want to do cloud recording. And then you can tell it what you want it to record. I want to record the active speaker because that's probably you as you're giving your lecture. I don't know if you want an audio only file. I always have it generate that, and then I get an email if for some reason I need to use that. I do want saved chat messages in case there are questions that I didn't get a chance to get to that are in the chat. That's helpful to take a look at. These other things are mostly just whether or not these are things that you want, but pay attention to this one right here, especially, well, I mean, honestly, you should always have this checked, audio transcript, because what that means is Zoom will generate a pretty decent audio transcript for you after the fact, and then you can pair that with the video. So if you have students who are hard of hearing, they've got that audio transcript that they can read through. So that's probably something that's something that you want. Automatic recordings, this again is going to depend on how many meetings you're doing in Zoom. I have this set to on right now, but I'm in Zoom like 4 times a day, so I get a recording every time I have, even just one meeting with a faculty member to go over something. I'm probably turning this off, and then when I need it, I can just turn it on within the meeting itself. And I think we're good. I think that's pretty much all that we need for right there.
And you'll be sending out the transcript to everyone?
I will be sending out the transcript, and because I know that we need it for this session, I'm actually going to upload this to YouTube and create a caption there as well.
Okay.
So that will be posted. Give me a couple days because I got to go over the captions to make sure that they're good, because it's YouTube, they're not always good. I'm going to stop here just to see if anybody has questions on our settings section.
I have a question from Courtney, who is really hoping that you will say yes to this question. She is asking, Pam, are you saying that this will almost do my minutes for me if we do board meetings through this?
Yes, I am saying yes to that. I would definitely look it over, and I will tell you that, I'm sure you guys all know that Zoom has been super impacted with this switch to everybody going online. So we've had a couple of times where the recordings get delayed by, like a day. But I went in and checked today to see the status of recordings. And a meeting that I had this morning at 10 o'clock, I already had the recording and the transcript for. So be prepared that it's possible it could be delayed, but they've been pretty decent recently.
So, Courtney says, OMG, thank you. You made her day. I can tell. And then also Mandolin would like to know, where will it come from and will it automatically be sent to students?
No, it will not automatically be sent to students. So if you didn't turn off your emails in that section where I showed you how to turn off your emails, you'll get an email. If you did, like me, you're not getting anything automatically. Here's what happens. So I'm in my settings right now. Right above that is recordings. If I click on that, I already have recordings from this meeting that we're doing right now. You'll see my list of recordings. Right now, I've got 2 that are done. And I'm guessing what happened here is that these are people who popped in and popped out again, because this meeting is definitely not done. But the meeting we're in right now, it says it's processing. So I can just access it from here. So if you didn't turn off your emails, it will email it to you directly. If you did, you just come here to recordings and find them all listed here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
And send them on to your students.
And send them on to your students. And the way I have my settings set, I get 4 files every time I do a recording. I get an audio only, I get an audio with video, I get the audio transcript, and then I get the chat transcript. I would not send the chat transcript or the audio transcript. I would just send the video with audio and the audio transcript. Okay? All right, so I'm going to stop sharing here and go back to my PowerPoint.
I have a question.
Okay, go for it while I'm finding this.
So say like I wanted to watch the recording of one of those presidential seminars, right? So like the seminars that President Christian has all the time.
Yep.
How would I find one of those?
Okay, you know what? Hang on real quick. I was going to show this later, but I'll show it now. She's posting those on the COVID-19 website, I believe.
Yes.
So let me find that for you. Maybe. You know what?
Would you like me to do that and then you can go on?
Sure. That would be super. Okay. So the settings we just went over, let me just highlight again the ones that I think are important. Enable join before host, decide if you want to do that or not, how you set your recordings, and then again, sharing tools, who can share. And this is really about how much you trust the people who are in the meeting with you or the lecture with you. If you think that they're likely to hijack your meeting, probably don't allow sharing of their screen or the whiteboard. But if that's not going to happen, then allow sharing, and then your email notifications. Now we're going on to hosting a meeting. So I'm just going to go over the few things I want to point out, and then we'll go into this. Do you want to mute or unmute your participants? I showed you the settings for that in settings, but you can also do that just within your meeting. Do you want people to start with video or not? And then I'm going to show you how you share your screen, whether you allow others to share their screens, managing your participants, polls, and breakout rooms. So Zoom's a little tricky to show you how to use Zoom. So I did some screenshots here just so you can see the tools that you need to see. So here is the toolbar that I see as the host. Yours is going to look different as a participant. You're not going to have quite so many options. I didn't get the microphone and video camera over here, but I've already shown you that. Instead of participants, I have a button here that says manage participants, and I'll show you what that does. Here is where I can start a poll if I have a poll ready to go. This button here is where I share my screen, and you guys have seen I've already done that a few times. Participants do have that if the host has allowed participants to share screens. You guys have already seen chat, I know that. Recording. So if I didn't click to record in my settings, I can do it right here. Or if I do have it and I decided, you know what, I don't really want to record this meeting, I can pause the recording or stop the recording. And if you're in meetings where there is sensitive information being shared that's not shared with everyone, these are handy tools to know that you can pause your recording, and then when you get past that information, you can start again. Closed caption is not super useful to you unless you have a contract with a company that does closed captioning, because that's basically what this is. This is where you can allow an outside party to caption your videos for you. Zoom is not yet at the point where they can caption for you if you're not using an outside party. Earlier, I talked about breakout rooms. If you decide, you know, I'm doing a lecture, but I want to have a small group discussion, I can click on this and I can split the students who are present in my Zoom class into different rooms, say give them 30 minutes to go talk about a topic, and then bring them back when they're done. And then there's a more button too, and at this point, I don't think I've got much that's in that more. Sometimes if I have too many things open, breakout rooms will go there. All right, I see chat flashing. Do I need to?
No, I'm not seeing your toolbar from Carol Matthews.
You didn't see it in my PowerPoint that I was just sharing?
And she is not.
Okay. It was at the bottom of that PowerPoint. Okay. So what I did next is, for anybody who has not shared your screen before, let me go back for a second. So down here where it says share screen, if I clicked on that, the next thing I would see is this screen. And what it does is it brings up all my active windows on my computer and says, okay, which of these do you want to share? So for instance, there's my email if I wanted to share that. There's my ConferZoom paper that I wrote. I've got an Excel spreadsheet. So anything that's active. Now, I'll tell you this, I'm a person who tends to have so many windows active that Zoom can't capture them all. And when that happens, I have to go out, click on the thing that I actually want to share and come back here. And then, so you have to actually hit share twice. You click on whichever window it is here that you want to share, and then you hit share again. And then what you'll see, and unfortunately you guys can't see this on my screen, is the only way that you know you're sharing is that that window then becomes the main screen, like what you guys see right now. And there's a little green bar that shows that you're sharing, and then there's a button that says stop share. And that's how you would stop if you needed to stop your share. Okay, so that's sharing your screen. And then I also told you there's a button, and I'm going to keep going back to this so you see mine says manage participants. If I click that, what happens next is that my window then divides, and I get this window that says participants. And what this does for me is it shows everyone who's in my meeting right now. Obviously, this is not current because I was the only person in this meeting at the time. It gives me the option as the host to rename that person. Like, let's say somebody's phone number is all that's showing up there, and I want to know what their name actually is. I could just ask them and rename them that way. It also lets me clear all of the chat. And I want to show you something important here. Unfortunately, I can't show you the whole thing because I tried to take a screenshot and it wouldn't let me. If somebody was causing trouble, let's say Tracy came in here and she decided to show inappropriate videos and she's screaming at the top of her lungs, and I mute her and she unmutes herself immediately. This more button right here, if everybody can see where I'm circling here, more, will let me do two things. If I were to click on that, I could mute Tracy and make it so that she could not unmute herself. I can take away that ability to unmute herself, or I could kick her out and lock the meeting. So I kick her out up here by removing her, like just clicking on her picture, but more gives me the option to lock the meeting. So if you ever got a troublemaker and you weren't sure how to deal with it, you could take care of it right there. Okay, so that's managing participants. Okay, so polls. All right, I'm going to do what I did before. I'm going to go back here. You guys see that polls is right here. If I click on it, what happens, okay, so this was the poll that you guys were supposed to see when I clicked poll earlier. If I've created a poll, it will show up here and it will give me the opportunity to just launch the poll. If this isn't the poll that I wanted to show you, I wrote this, but this isn't really what I wanted to do right here, I can click edit. And edit is going to take you out of Zoom, and it's going to take you to the ConferZoom website, and you write your poll there. So if you want to try that on your students, you can write your poll, you launch it, everyone sees the questions, give them however long you want to answer that question, and then you can stop the poll, and once you do that, it'll give you the option to display your results. So it's kind of good if, say at the beginning of a class session or the beginning of a meeting, you just want to get quick answers on questions that you think everybody will have an answer to. Polls are good for that. Plus, it's an interactive way to make sure people are paying attention. It'll let you know how many people actually participated. There is a way to find out who participated, but it's a little involved, so I'm not going to go into it today. But just letting you know that that's an option. Okay, setting up breakout rooms. So once again, back to here. If you click on breakout rooms, the next thing you will see is right here. It will say assign participants to how many rooms. So let's say I've got 20 people in my Zoom session and I want there to be 5 people. So I'm going to say I'm going to go ahead and set it to 4 rooms. And then I've got a choice here. Either I hit automatically and Zoom will decide who goes into those rooms if I don't care how people are grouped, or I can do manually. And if that happens, you'll get a window that pops up that shows each of your rooms, all of the participants, and you just drag them to the correct room.
Pam, we have a poll question.
Okay.
Can you use a poll as a test?
I don't recommend it, at least not until we work out together how you find out for sure who took your poll. And like I said, it's a little convoluted, so I haven't created a video or anything on that yet. I know there's a way to do it, but I've not done it yet. So I would say right now, I would not recommend that. Okay, any questions on breakout rooms? No? All right. Oh, are we done already? No, we can't be done. I haven't shared a whiteboard yet. Okay, I'm going to share the whiteboard because I haven't done that yet. All right, so when I go to share screen, you saw that it had all of my files that were active on my screen, but it also has a whiteboard that will look like this. And I get tools that allow me to write on it. I can type on it. Sorry, the camera on my computer is at the bottom, so when I type, it looks like there's a monster coming to attack you. I can do a spotlight, which is kind of an interesting thing, where I can sort of highlight what I'm talking about. I can stamp. I would say the whiteboard is good, like if you're a math teacher and you want to do some math problems, if you've got something that you want to draw, or if you do want your students to contribute, it's a useful tool for that as well. Students can contribute. If everybody can see their tools at the top, I'm going to close my whiteboard tools for a second. I believe you either see the option to annotate or you see something that says more, and it gives you the option to annotate. So I'm going to see who my savvy students are by seeing who writes on the whiteboard now. So take a minute, see if you can find where you can annotate and you can use the whiteboard tools. I'm hoping some people figure it out. And I'm going to take a drink of my water. Oh, I got some writing.
So Pam, you could use, like if you use breakout rooms, you could let the students in the breakout rooms, if you had optioned that in your settings for them to use the whiteboard amongst the project.
Yes, so, they could. Okay, I see Martin is up there. Pretty sure that was Janet who just wrote her name. Anybody else on the whiteboard? All right, we definitely have people figuring it out. That's cool.
I have a question.
Okay.
This is from Moya. She needs the whiteboard. And she asks, how do I keep the people, the chat, and the whiteboard all on my screen? And that would be browsers.
Okay.
And Moya, I can work with her afterwards.
I made her a video.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Moya's got a video for this. So Moya, it's hard for me to show you, but like right now I have all the people over to the side. Now I only have as many people as I've had the whole time, which is not everybody because I think I can see 5 right now. Then from my toolbar, I pull up the chat. So I'm just saying, and Tracy, if you could type this too, because I'm just gonna make sure Moya gets it.
I did.
I have people on my right, I have the whiteboard up, and then I've got chat, but I have to click it. It goes away when I open my whiteboard. I have to actually go up and select it again. Okay. So somebody said, where do you access the whiteboard? Okay, so guys, from your tools, if you see share, one of your options besides just sharing like a PowerPoint or a website is whiteboard. I believe it shows up as the second option is whiteboard. All right. I'm going to go ahead and stop this share and go back to my PowerPoint, and then we'll take questions and I'll tell you what your assignment is to get your badge. All right, so I'm just going to share the PowerPoint again. Okay, so as you start, like I know a lot of you don't even have your confirmed ConferZoom account yet. As you start getting into this, if you have questions, I am always available to answer questions. You guys probably all know my email address because you've seen so many emails from me, but there's where you can send questions about this. Further exploration, play around with Zoom, try it in your your lectures and meetings. If you get the hang of this and you want to go on to some more advanced Zoom, Matt Jones for the next couple of weeks is going to be doing a ConferZoom on interactivity. It's really good for faculty who want to see more ways to interact with their students in Zoom besides just, sharing a PowerPoint and talking. So I highly recommend. Next week is spring break, but after that, he'll offer it again. I believe he's offering it tomorrow, and I don't think it's full yet. So if anybody is interested in that, that would be a good idea. If you want to earn the badge that you can get from this, it's pretty easy. You just have to create a meeting and send me the link. And if you do that, I will put your name in for the badge. Now, I know some of you, that means you're waiting for your account to be confirmed before you can do that. But as soon as I get it, I will go ahead and send you a badge. That is it for what I had to cover. I'm actually really impressed that we got that done with 10 minutes to spare. So I've got time for questions. And if you want, you don't have to put them in chat. You can unmute yourself. Go ahead, Tracy.
So I have a question. Someone wants to know if, who's not in this session, but did ask this question, if a nursing instructor wanted to know, can you have assign multiple meetings back to back? For example, they have a DSPS student who they are creating a test for, and then can they 5 minutes later go into a different meeting while that other meeting is still up?
No.
Okay.
So I've heard like fluke examples where it works, but for the most part, if you try to go into a second meeting, you get a message saying you're in this meeting. Do you want to cancel that? Do you want to end that one, or do you want to go into this one? So
Okay.
no, don't try to do that.
Okay.
Okay. Other questions? I will send this PowerPoint to everybody who was on my list. So hopefully that will help. Hopefully you all get a chance to get into ConferZoom and you can create a meeting and send that to me, and then you get your badge for being here. But most importantly, I hope that this was helpful and you can navigate Zoom a little bit better now. ConferZoom, I should say ConferZoom.
I think that you should give Gabriel extra points because he's got a background.
I'm impressed with your virtual background.
Mm-hmm.
That's like advanced level. It's like level 2 Zoom.
Yes.
And he found Dr. Christian's videos that he wanted, even though I kept sending him COVID-19 stuff. So,
Got it.
Pam, I know you didn't go over ConferZoom in Canvas, but that was—
Oh, I didn't do that, did I?
Yeah, that was one of the main questions I had. Can I host? I have 2 student development B6s. Can I host a ConferZoom for both classes at the same time?
If you want to do that.
Okay.
You know what? I don't even think I did set up a meeting. Hang on, guys. Here, let me share my screen.
Okay.
Sorry, I got ahead of myself. Okay, so that's mandolin, right?
yes.
Okay.
Sorry, yes, I muted myself.
That's okay. So I would not do that. I would do it this way. I would go, okay, so guys, this is setting up a meeting. I'm sorry, I didn't do that. Meetings. Schedule a new meeting. And again, I'm in ConferZoom. I know that because it says ConferZoom up here in my address bar. Schedule a new meeting right here. And call it, maybe office hours. Put your description. I'm going to set this for Friday at 3. That's good. Say how long I want to do it. Host video on, participant video off. Enable join before host. That's all good. And then I'm going to save. This is what you need right here. So I went to meetings, I hit schedule meeting. After I'm done, I get this URL and you send that to your students.
But now, Mandolin, did you have a question about wanting to set up the meeting in Canvas or here?
But she has 2 classes.
Yeah, I was trying to—
You don't want to do that for 2 classes.
Because
You
okay.
can't.
Yeah. If you set up 2 meetings in Canvas for the same time, it's going to give you 2 different URLs, and then you'll have half your students in the wrong meeting.
I see. So I would have to go through ConferZoom on the outside, not through in Canvas.
And honestly, in my opinion, not everyone agrees with me. It is just easier to do it this way.
Okay.
For you guys who are listening to this, ConferZoom and Canvas sometimes get overwhelmed with the traffic now that we have everyone doing this on Zoom. And occasionally they lose the link together. And so you'll go into Canvas and click ConferZoom, and I'm going to show you that in just a second. And you'll get an unhappy face because they're not working together at that minute. You can completely bypass that by doing this. We have only had one time in the last 3 weeks where Zoom itself has been down, and it lasted like 10 minutes total. However, every day we've had a time when when the link wasn't working between Canvas and ConferZoom.
Yeah, that happened today.
It's happened every day for some period of time.
So just go through ConferZoom, because I went to sign up and it said that I already had a ConferZoom account.
Okay, well then that's a good sign.
But you were saying that if it had zoom.us at the top, that it wasn't ConferZoom, but it says exactly, is that yours?
Okay, look right here in the address bar.
Yeah,
this is where I'm talking about. If it says this in the address bar, you're good.
Oh, okay, that's what mine says. Okay.
If it says zoom.us right here, that's where it's an issue.
Okay, excellent.
Let me show you guys the Canvas part for those of you who are ready for that. And you know, if you don't have your email yet and you forget this, just come back to us later and we'll show you again. I'm just going to quickly go over here and show you how to set up a meeting in Canvas. All right, so I'll take this course. So what I'm looking for here is ConferZoom right here. Some people don't have that, and I can show you at the end for anybody, if you need to move it into your course, I can show you how to do that. But once it's here, I click ConferZoom. I'll see a screen that looks like this. If I've never been in before, I need to go all the way over here to the right where it says account settings and click on that. Now again, this isn't going to work until you have your email from ConferZoom, but just showing you for the future. I need to click conferencing accounts in order to connect my two accounts. So I click on conferencing accounts, and what I want to see is the screen check mark. Before you are officially signed up in Canvas and in ConferZoom, you're going to have like a yellow triangle that says you don't have an account. But once everything is good and you've verified your account, you'll have a green check mark. That's how you know that you're good to go. Okay, so I'm going to come back out here to, let's go to my event calendar. And it's really easy to schedule a meeting once you've done that. But remember, you have to do that account settings part first. I just click schedule here. Put whatever I want. It's putting my class name here. I'll say this is Wednesday lecture. Put done right there. And then go ahead and put the time. It says America, Los Angeles. That's what I want. I want this for Wednesday, so I'm going to click April 1st. Meeting time is 2 o'clock. It's just going to be an hour long. Okay. And then I save that. And now, I think it showed up. Did it show up? You know what? I don't think it did because I already have 2 meetings at 2 o'clock. Apparently, I decided 2 o'clock was an important time. Let me do one more just to show you. I'll do one for Thursday. Okay, Thursday. 2, oh, not 3, 2, for an hour. And save. Now it's there. There's the meeting I just set up. You'll notice over here it says prepare. When it gets close to the time for that meeting to start, that will change and it will say host. But I could click prepare right now and it would open ConferZoom just the same. Your students, if they were coming in, let me just kind of show you. Maybe. You can't do student view of this for whatever reason it doesn't work. But your students, it looks almost exactly the same. The only difference is they don't get a button that they can go in until 10 minutes before the event's going to start, and they'll have a join button over here. And I've actually created a little video of this because students get nervous that they don't know what to expect when it's time for a class to start. So I made a little video just so they can see, and I can send that to you later. Do we have any questions on this?
Pam, I have one quick question.
Go ahead.
I was able to go to the appointment booking and schedule appointments. Of course, I could the actual person's name, but it gave me the time blocks. Is it possible for them to go in and book appointments through here, or would they need to just go in through somewhere else?
You know what? I don't know the answer to that. I can look that up for you, but I don't know for sure.
Okay.
Meaning, can they contact you, Mandolin, as opposed to making an appointment reminder for themselves, like say in Starfish?
No, like if they knew my office hours and they wanted to just go in through ConferZoom and make their appointment themselves, if they can just create it themselves, like just by clicking. Because when I click on it, I can actually put in those that I already know have an appointment. But I was just wondering if they're able to do that as well, or do they have to go to Starfish to make their appointment?
You know, honestly, as I'm looking at this, it looks like they should be able to, but I'll be honest, I have not seen anyone use it that way yet. Mandolin, how about I do some exploring and you and I touch base maybe tomorrow?
Excellent, thank you.
You're welcome. Because as I'm looking at it, it looks like that's possible, but I'll be honest, I haven't seen anyone use it that way yet.
I haven't either. That's why I was asking the question.
Yeah, but I will explore for you.
Martin has a question too. He is saying on his ConferZoom page, it is asking to have him switch or log out, I would assume out, into my current account. Is that right, Martin?
Yeah, it was asking me when I received the email to confirm my account invitation. I clicked on the approve the request, and then it's asking, by accepting this invitation, you are switching to a new Zoom account.
Yes.
So
what that says to me, Martin, is that you probably had a Zoom account before, and it's converting it to ConferZoom.
So do I acknowledge and switch,
yes,
or do I sign in?
I would acknowledge and switch.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, guys, it is 3:01 and the and Sonia's forum is starting, so I want to let everybody go who wants to watch that. I want to watch that. If you have questions that we have not answered yet, please send them to me. Please also don't forget to set up a meeting so that you can get your badge. But I am more than happy to answer questions. Just email them to me and I will get in touch with you. I also have ConferZoom office hours today from 4 to 5:30 if anybody has anything they want to follow up with.
Everybody wants the video on how students log in, Pam.
Okay, so
the video is going to be to write. It's on the page in case I can send it to them.
The video is not 100% ready yet, but it will be tomorrow. So how about I just email it to everybody who is registered for this tomorrow. It's going to be posted on our instructional resources on the COVID-19, but that probably won't be till the end of the week. So I will make sure you all get it. All right, guys. Are there any chats I need to look at?
Nope.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for coming. Please make sure that you get your badge by sending me a link to a meeting. And I look forward to seeing what y'all do with ConferZoom.
Yay. And Rob, email me.
All right, guys. I'm going to end the meeting.
Bye.
Bye.